We're all wearing black. We look like we're one big organization.
Remember that sketch on Saturday Night Live? It was like Chris Kattan and Molly Shannon, where they were like, "I am." They were like goth, like
Oh yeah, yeah.
goth
But they were like
video blog.
teens.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were like,
I
and he's
remember
like,
they were like
that.
cute teens.
yeah, yeah.
But goth.
Mango.
Yeah,
It
well,
wasn't
it wasn't
mango.
mango, but it was close.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Um,
Check me out.
okay. No, no. This is movie date with Jess and Kait, and this is our dear friend Luke.
Hi.
Yeah. And Jess and I are a couple who love watching movies together. And today we're having our friend Luke so that we can talk about the movie that he wanted to watch, Re-Animator.
Re-Animator.
Re-Animator. This is Luke's personal copy
My personal copy, my personal library.
from your personal collection.
Yes.
Why'd you choose this movie?
Because it's freaking awesome.
It
It's a
is.
Frankenstein story, which I love. It's goopy 80s fun. A lot of really over the top insanity in
Yeah.
it, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Are
Yeah,
you
I love
H.P.
Jeffrey Combs.
Lovecraft fan?
You know what? I'm not really.
Yeah.
I've read a lot of his short stories.
Have you read the one that this is based on?
Yes, yeah.
Is
It's
it
completely
similar?
different.
Okay.
Yeah. It is very similar about trying to find the cure for life, cure for death, or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is like modern, and that's like, early 20th century kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
When
Yeah.
I think of him, I think of tentacles. And
Yeah.
this doesn't have any
Yeah.
Yeah.
tentacles.
The kind of lurker at the threshold in the mouths, or at the Mountain of Madness kind of stuff, which is at the Mountain of Madness is cool.
Yeah.
And he's got some other ones that are interesting, but like
Overall, yeah.
overall, a real piece of shit.
Pretty
human
big
being.
racist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a
And what's
scrap.
your relation just to horror in general? Because to us, you are our like go-to horror
Yes.
guy. You're Mr. Horror.
I guess I'll wear the crown proudly. I don't know. Yeah, it's just been like a lifelong obsession
Yeah.
for me.
Can you remember the first scary movie? Or,
Yeah, I
like-
can tell you exactly. Well, the first movie that truly scared me
Yeah.
was Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It's a scary one.
Oh
When he
yeah.
has the
In the
dagger-
goo?
the daggers
Yeah.
for the eyes. And then in 1988 was the same year that Halloween 4 and Killer Clowns from Outer Space came out. And I saw both of those.
Is that the
movies.
one where the girl is also in the
Yes.
clown suit?
Yes,
Right?
yes. So it's the one where he's terrorizing a child, essentially.
Yeah.
It's really
That
terrible.
was in the first one I watched.
Yeah.
That one.
And
The
then
first
that's
Halloween?
Mm-hmm.
it's
I
Halloween
think
4.
mine was the one with Tyra Banks. Was she?
Was that H2?
Resurrection.
Yeah.
That's
I came in when things were really picking up.
yeah. And Busta Rhymes
Getting
comes
good.
karate on Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say this is your favorite horror movie or just one of your favorites?
I think it definitely can be in the top 10 discussion. I wouldn't put it like top for
Yeah.
me. But it's one that like I can watch easily over and over again.
You watched
Like,
this in like high school? When did you watch this?
saw it in high school. Then when I was in college, like was a big one where I'm like, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
And then I've seen it a couple times in the theater. I saw it. I was telling you while we were watching it, Exhumed Films, shout out to Exhumed Films in Philadelphia, our ancestral homeland.
Motherland.
Yes, the motherland. They do tons of like annual screenings, all on 35 millimeter. And I saw this on like an Empire Pictures quadruple feature, and the screenwriter was there.
Cool.
So yeah, it's just kind of been one of those like party movies.
Yeah.
It definitely has that
Yeah.
vibe too.
Oh, and I should specify we watched a specific version.
Yes.
The integral version.
Yeah.
The
Integral version?
Oh, integral.
Integral version.
We haven't seen the integral version.
So
yet.
basically, as the little book explains in this DVD, it's there were different versions of the movie made. There's the uncut version, which the directors made, and that's in here too. But then there were there's another cut like for television with less sex and gore and more plot stuff put in. And then this version has the whole shebang.
Yes.
It has
So it
everything.
ends up being like about an hour 45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was your first time seeing this version.
Yes, I've only seen the unrated version, which
Yeah.
is like I think like 88 minutes or something. So it is pretty significant.
It
for that
moves.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. And for those of you unfamiliar, of course, we'll be recapping the whole thing, but just a general overview. Re-Animator kind of implied in the title, there are scientists who are pushing the limits of reanimating life, and it goes to their head.
Yeah, it's sort of like a medical zombie movie in a lot of ways. Like,
Yeah.
where they get into like the nuts and bolts of injecting someone with something that reanimates and turns them into a zombie.
Yeah. And this one in particular is known, I think, for its special effects as well. Like it has a lot of cool. It looks like the budget really wasn't that much, but they were able to do a lot with it.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into.
A lot of good blood and guts.
A good goo.
Nasty. So yeah, big characters in it. In particular, you mentioned Jeffrey Combs. He plays Herbert West. And then we'll get into the other characters as we're going, but that's a big name to remember. So we open in Germany at this university in Zurich. There's like an important looking man with some cops coming down a hallway. A nurse is like quickly escorting them in, like, help me, help me.
In German.
In German, yes. And they're like,
mein Gott.
Yes. They get to a door and they're screaming a doctor's name. Dr. Gruber! Dr. Gruber!
Straight up Hans Gruber.
It is Hans Gruber, and this is pre
Die Hard.
So this could be his father.
I think it is.
And we met it Jr.
We met Hans Gruber Jr.
The loss of his father led him to terrorism.
Yes, he's like,
that's like a vocal exercise.
Hans Gruber Jr.
Hans Gruber Jr. There's a man screaming behind the door. We're hearing glass shattering, banging. The cops finally bust it down. When we're inside, we see an old man lying on the ground looking pretty beat up and bloody, and then a younger man in glasses with a syringe kind of like pointed at him with some lovely green neon-y glue or goo.
Hero?
Our question mark hero. This is her
humanity's hero.
This is Dr. West. He's the Gruber is like bleeding. His eyes are like bulging out. They finally explode and he dies. They're all like, oh my goodness, he's dead. He's dead.
My God.
Yes. And the doctor's like, well, of course he's dead. I gave him too much.
Yeah.
And they're like, you killed him. And he's like, no, I did not. I gave him life.
Yeah.
So very like
the opening credits.
Yes. Yeah. And then the opening credits are very like Beetlejuice meets Psycho-y. Like there's some like neon swirling, but then also like music that's reminiscent of like if Danny Elfman did the Psycho.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the score was done by a guy named Richard Band, who, if you know what Evil Tunes is or Puppet Master, that's Charles Band, which is Full Moon. And they're like, he made all the Ghoulies movies. He loves little freaks.
Yeah.
His company before Full Moon was Empire. And his brother, Richard, composed a lot of the music for his movies.
Oh, that's cool.
But this, he basically just steals the Psycho.
It's so
straight
close.
up. It legitimately is like a remix. It's like a legitimate remix of Bernard Herrmann's score for Psycho.
Yeah, which is Psycho's an interesting one because this one really has no MacGuffin. It's pretty straightforward. There's an evil goo, and it's throughout going to be, or not evil, but it's our thing that makes everything happen.
Yeah,
he's just like, hey, this isn't really good.
But it is so zoingy and springy. It feels Elfman-y.
Yeah,
like when
Boing?
like some of the scenes that they use it in, it feels comic. It leans more Beetlejuicy, although this came out before Beetlejuice.
Yeah, and there's like swirls of like almost medical school looking diagrams of like the human figures. So we know like in this, like the human body is going to be treated as like a test subject, an experiment science. Kind of like how you treat a human is a big theme in it. What do we
I mean, it's kind of like this is like the cover here is like, it's obviously his face, but there's like medical numbers here pointing towards.
Stick it right in there.
Oh yeah,
right
you can kind of see. So it's in that vein of stuff.
Then we cut to a hospital. There's a young doctor. This is Dr. Kane, and he's there's like a body lying on a table. There's a bunch of like nurses around. Clearly, this body is like not doing well. They're trying to get it back to life. He's pushing and pushing on her chest. but it's not working and it ends up straight lining. And the doctor just doesn't want to give up on it. He keeps going and going and going. And the nurses are like, come on, come on. And essentially, we learn about Kane is like a good doctor is what the nurse tells him. A good doctor knows when to stop. So this guy has a good heart, but he's just going to keep going.
Yeah. And theme stated for those who have read Save the Cat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely 100%. Like truly 5 minutes into the film too. It's just like some doctors don't stop.
Yeah.
And they're bad.
Yeah, but I like that. I mean, we'll learn as we hear more about the characters, but I like that they both like have the same goal, but they're just coming about it in two totally different ways.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. There is an altruism to Dan Kane's sort of desire to save people's lives versus Herbert West, who is like maniacal and self-serving in a way of like, I want to become a famous doctor who is, you know, become God, essentially.
Yeah.
Classic Frankenstein stuff.
Yeah. So Kane is now rolling the body that has just died to the morgue. We see a security guard who will run into a bunch of times. Great guy, just smoking a big ass cigar.
Smoking cigars, watching porn at work, or reading porn at work.
Yeah. He brings the body into the morgue, into like the fridge area, and it's lined with like a bunch of different like nasty looking dead bodies. We see like arms draped out, and there's like all
burn victim, shotgun to the head.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that he doesn't seem very comfortable in that space.
No, he moves the arm, but it flops back out, and he's like, ugh.
Well, he doesn't want people dead. He wants them alive.
Yeah.
He likes them alive.
That's called acting.
Now that's acting. In the other room, we see another doctor. Dr. Hill is working on a corpse, and he's got like a laser that's like touching his eyeball. Dr. Hill's. Well, no. Then we see a hole in the forehead that he puts a Q-tip into.
That part was rough.
You said it was like a pH test in a pool.
Yeah, he like just dunks it in there, and it's fucking bad.
Yeah. Dr. Hill's older than the other ones, and we learn that he is the teacher at this medical school, and that Kane is one of his students. The dean is also in that room, and he introduces him to West.
Yeah, we're getting all the characters. Bang,
all of our characters pretty much are in one place at one time. West is introduced to Hill, and essentially we already see that they have a bit of a back and forth immediately of like West is like, oh, I've heard of your stuff.
Your work, it's derivative.
Yeah. You're just like old fashioned. You're not with it anymore. Yeah. And then of course Hill is like, okay, well, I'm the teacher.
I think this scene is like so perfect, introducing West as like a little shit.
Yeah, he plays played perfectly.
It's so fast.
So yeah, he's the student. Now we cut to Kane. He is in the on like a board in the hallway, and he's posting that he needs a roommate. Around the corner is a hot little blonde. We learn this is
Barbara Crampton.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes,
hero. Yes.
What else is she in?
She was in Chopping Mall. She was in Jacob's Wife a few years ago. What was that one called? Oh, Beyond the Gates. It's like this weird sort of like video horror movie. But like, I think she was involved with Suitable Flesh too, which Joe Bob did.
Which one was that?
That was the one with Heather Graham.
Oh yes. So she comes around the corner and they just start making out. They immediately cut to them like in a bed.
This is such a classic cut. He's like tickling her or something, and she's like, no. Smash cut to bed. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, so clearly a man wrote.
I do think they seem like a cute couple though. They do a good job of establishing that they like care about each other and that he is conflicted. As things come up.
Dating the dean's daughter.
Yeah. So he's at the school on a scholarship. She is the dean's daughter, and he would lose his scholarship if it was like out that they were together, because it would be like why would that be? What would it? It's just policy.
Conflict of interest, yeah.
Oh, okay, like they would show him favoritism or something.
Yeah.
They're very like romantic together. He's like, "Oh, marry me," and she's like, "No, I can't. When you graduate, we can do that."
Yeah.
So he's like super into this girl. We also meet the cat. They have a cat named Rufus who jumps into bed and is like very cute with them. There's like a lot of alluding to things that'll happen later on. Like he's kind of peeking under the covers, looking at her body, and they're talking about like what bodies mean to them, like a human body versus like a cadaver. And then there's like he's under the sheets and like gets up as if he's a ghoul and is like chasing her.
Yeah. Now this is a scene we were discussing during that it feels like it was much more extended in this version.
Yeah.
I think there was like added stuff here. Because you read that it was like mostly just character development things.
Yeah, it was all stuff. It was all like, it's stuff like that to fit into the TV.
Did you like this
version.
scene? Did you find it
I liked it, yeah.
informative? If it was,
I don't know if I needed it. Like, I think that sort of the characters in this are important in anything, but like, are they necessary to have that much? Meh, not for me. I mean, like, I like that they're acting very well, and it's a cute, like, fun scene. But then I'm like, all right, where's West? Get West back in here.
yeah, I could see
He'll-
that.
you know,
That's great. Yeah.
Although I see for things that are going to come later, we won't spoil anything, but like building up their relationship helps, I think, other things pay off later.
Yes.
Like at the climax of the movie.
In more ways than one.
Let me see. Oh, so he's in the little he's got the sheet over him, kind of like chasing her like a zombie. She's like cutesy, like, oh, like running to the door. She opens up the door and Wes is there. He has the ad for
The
the
front door,
roommate.
not the bedroom door.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
He didn't like he wasn't like listening next to her. He was like, yes, yes.
Although he does kind of help himself right in. Like
Yeah.
as soon as he's like, I'm here to be your roommate, he just walks in, looks around.
He says come in, and then he does.
But then he like goes down the hall.
Oh yeah, he starts like looking.
Yeah. He's like, do you have a basement? Okay, great. I have my stuff outside. I'm ready to like.
You don't want to see the bedroom at all? You don't want to see where you would be potentially sleeping?
He just needs
right
a
to the
basement.
bedroom?
Yeah.
Basement.
All right.
Oh, I also noticed in the scene, Kane introduced Meg as his fiance, even though they like weren't officially. So he's like very into her.
Yeah. But do you think that's to be like, hey, hands
Hands
off?
off, buddy. Could be.
Oh, no, I just thought like they were just talking about it.
Yeah.
He's all like excited. Like, okay, well, when I graduate, and I know I'm gonna graduate, so she's basically my fiance.
Yeah.
Oh, she brings up like, hey, we heard that you like left Switzerland. Like, what was the deal with that? And he kind of totally ignores her question.
I learned everything I could there. There was nothing left for me to learn. He says.
Yeah. No one left for me. We cut to the class where Dr. Hill has like a body on a table and he's like cutting the head open. And then he rips off the scalp and the hair, showing the skull. And he's like, it's like an orange. And the whole class is like cracking up. Yeah. He has a bone saw and he's like showing the brain. And then he repeats, and many people repeat over and over again. Like the brain can survive 6 to 10 minutes.
Well, yeah.
Or to 12, 6 to 12. But then after that point, it's brain death.
Yeah, no, there's no chance of revival.
Yes. And then as he's saying this, Wes is just staring at him with like a pencil really close to his face and he like breaks it. And then
Such an alpha move.
And then just goes and picks up another one without saying anything and just replaces that like right in front of his face.
Yeah.
Hill can like feel that and the tension from it. And he's like, I suggest you get another pen or you get yourself a pen. Yeah.
And immediately screams at him after. Like like Wes goes up to him and is just like, "You're a piece of shit. You're teaching these kids dribble and like."
Yeah, you're teaching them to be closed-minded. You're not even letting them know like there could be something after life. And he's like, "You're an idiot." Then we have. Is this all another extended scene? This dinner scene.
This is another thing we were talking about because there's a through line now which is established here that Hill, Dr. Hill.
As older teacher,
some kind of mental psychic powers because a big part of his study is like the location of will in the brain.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
he's like hypnotizing people.
Kind of, yeah. And I don't remember that being such a massive part of the movie from the first time through on the shorter version. It's like almost a non sequitur in that. And then the idea being like he's able to control the zombies because he does his little science on them, but it's actually like this mental power thing. So it takes it honestly from a place of like science fiction into like fantasy that is that
It is a fine line because I'm sure there are ways to like not like hypnotize, but like there are sciences to manipulating people, like with the way that you talk to them or look at them, or like I think that versus like a little, maybe some people can be hypnotized. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's all hokey monkey.
Yeah. But in this scene, he's having dinner with the dean and Meg. Meg has like made them dinner. She's also like going to school, has a boyfriend. I was like, she's doing a lot.
Yeah, she's busy.
Girl can have it all.
Yeah. But Hill is like basically trying to tell the dean like your daughter shouldn't be dating Kane, he's no good, and he lives with Wes, and that guy's a real freak, so she's hanging out with all of them and she deserves someone superior. It's obvious already that he kind of has like a creepy thing.
It's so overt, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So he keeps saying like she's so young and beautiful.
Yeah. And insisting that she like stays there even when Kane comes to pick her up for them
study
to leave.
here.
Yeah, it's like come study here. We won't bore you. And they're
let me watch you study.
They're like, oh, we're good. Oh yeah, then there's like the hypnosis thing where like the filter over Hill is like kind of like the first season of Drag Race. Like it's very like if you've seen that. There's like a haze to it. Yeah.
But he's speaking right down the barrel of the camera too.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like a 3/4 shot where he's like, it's just like, he's just looking right down the barrel of the camera.
Yeah.
It's like a purposeful decision to like take you out of this and being like, oh, okay, so there's some like power that he has.
Yeah. I enjoyed those scenes because it also shows like how he's approaching the science differently too, of like wanting to control the will of people versus one of them wanting to like help people come back to life versus wanting to have the power to have something come back to life and be conscious and be like the god of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the 3 genders of science.
Yeah. Yes. So we cut to Meg. She seems like a little, we're at Kane's house, and she seems like not herself. She's like a little jittery and like lost in thought. And she's kind of unhappy that ever since West has moved in, that like Kane has been different and she just can't stand him. He like makes her skin crawl. And Kane is defending him. He's like, yeah, he's a little weird, but he's like smart and he, he's not bothering anybody. They mention like she's like the cat doesn't even like him, and speaking of that, I don't know where the cat is. So they start going around the house looking for this cat. They're like she ends up going into a bedroom and she sees a little mini fridge with like a green glow coming from it. She opens it and the dead cat is inside. And she freaks out. I know. It is sad. I hate when anything bad happens to an animal.
Yeah. But if an animal shows up in a horror movie, if it's not the
50-50 shot.
If it's not the animal attack, it's like, so he gets it in the end too.
Yeah.
Spoiler. Are there any animals that survive a horror movie?
Sure.
Yeah.
Can't think of any offhand, but
sure. I mean, when they win and like take over the world, Kingdom of the Spiders. I feel like they
that's what we meant.
Yeah. There's this weird movie called Prophecy that Talia Shire's in. I think it has like this big mutant bear that like just keeps coming back and
killing everyone.
Yeah.
Like Cocaine Bear?
No, it's like a mutated like
giant.
Oh. Yeah, I can't think of. There's got to be one.
The Meg.
I guess Alien.
Like a pet. Oh, yeah. That's a perfect one.
Yeah.
She finds the cat in there, and then Wes is like in the doorway, like, why are you in my room?
Yeah. I was going to tell you about the cat.
That was wild. Yeah. Where he kind of was able to turn it around and be like, I'm the normal one here.
Yeah. He said that the cat knocked over. He also, there's a very like deliberate him calling the cat it, and everyone else calls the cat him.
Yeah.
And he says that it knocked over the trash and got its head stuck in a jar and suffocated. So he put it in the fridge to keep it until Dan got
so
back.
it wouldn't smell.
Yeah, and he was like, "Why didn't you leave a note?" And he was like, "What would it say? Dead cat. Details later." Like, this guy's so funny. I love him.
They are acting in this movie, and I really kind of love it. It's just like they need to be that heightened acting and like that committed and serious to match the sort of
the
special
context
effects.
of the thing too. It's like this is like it's life and death.
Yeah,
you know.
So at this point, Kane is essentially like, "I want you out of here. This is too much." And then West kind of blackmails them, like, "Well, you know, you two aren't really supposed to be dating. If you like kick me out or try to mess with me, I'm going to tell everyone and like basically get you kicked out of school."
Yeah.
Look at that big scholarship you're trying to get.
Yeah. What did you say?
But he does it anyway.
What? He tells.
Well, I guess eventually he does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, he's gonna still he still wants him out, and Meg is like, "Let me go get some like dirt on him first. Let's like give ourselves some power. I'll check my dad's files." Then we cut to Kane sleeping in bed, and he hears this like growling kind of human animal noise somewhere in the house. He grabs a bat and like goes down the hall and is looking from room to room. He's like trying to wake up Wes in his room, but nobody's answering. Then in like the darkness, he ends up falling down the stairs where he finds Wes wrestling with this like very like comical kind of looking like like when you're like fighting a cat.
Definitely an old fur coat that had been cut.
Yeah. Yes. And like they're just like spinning around.
It's awesome. I mean, this is like the first big sort of set piece scene, and it's awesome. With
Oh
the light,
yeah.
The light is like swinging, so like you can sometimes see things, but not.
And there's all these like medical implements that are flying around the room and like clattering and stuff like that.
Yeah. Kane finally gets a hold of the cat and ends up throwing it against a wall, which has happened several times with things where like something's chucked at a wall and then like some goop stays in the wall.
3 separate occasions.
Yeah. A classic move. So now we got to figure out like what the hell is going in this basement. We cut to the cat being on the table. And basically Wes tells him how like he was able to break this 6 to 12 minute barrier. He's conquered the brain death. Kane can't believe it at first. He's like, "No, the cat must have just like not been dead." And he's like, "Okay, well then let's see if it'll come back to life now." Grab some of this like green fluorescent goo. And then puts it into like the cat is on the table and it almost looks like roadkill, like all of its guts are just like out. And then he injects it into the brain, of course. And it starts to like jitter just a little bit. And like kind of cry, and he's like, "Well, birth is always painful."
Yeah. Why is it making that sound?
Oh God.
But the point is that like the reaction does work. The reagent works. It just makes them like rage out, uncontrollably.
Now we are here with our pets tonight. Would you do this for Sassy or Poppy?
Knowing that it would make her turn into like some kind of rage thing.
So you're saying yes?
No, I wouldn't. I would just say like, you know what? We had a good time together. Sorry, time to go.
That's what makes you a good doctor, Luke.
I know when to quit.
Good doctor knows when to quit. How about you, Kait?
I'll juice her right up.
She's probably already been juiced. She's come back.
She's like, well, we find out later.
Yeah, she's been dead the whole time.
Yeah.
So there, the cat is back to life. Behind them, Meg comes down the stairs, sees this, and just like freaks out. So she runs upstairs. Kane follows her. He's trying to explain like what an amazing medical miracle this is, and she's like, "I looked in the file. West is crazy. He did all these things to Dr. Hans Gruber's body. You can't trust him."
Yeah. And it's pretty incredible how quickly Kane switches from like, "I got to get this guy out of here," to be like, "This guy's a genius. I want to be his pal."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I guess he's seen like a miracle. Like here's a doctor who wants to help and save people. He's seeing something that he thinks can do that, like bring people back to life. So we cut to the dean's office. Kane wants to explain everything that happened with Wes to hopefully like have everything blow over. And then the dean is essentially like, what are you doing with my daughter? Because he's been hypnotized by Hill now. They keep kind of going back and forth, like, no, you have to understand, like, Meg was there too. She saw this reanimation, and he's like, Meg was there? You're suspended and you're banned from the floor, and West is out of this school forever. And if you say anything, then you're also going to be like out of the school and lose your scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
Meg is waiting outside. She's like, I'll talk to my dad. You just have to stay away from West. But as we're saying, Kane is pretty quickly convinced of like, I saw what I saw. I can't unsee it. And I feel like what he's found can help people. Meg's even like, I'll marry you if you don't do it.
I'll marry you or else.
Yeah. And that'll solve the problems. And my dad will, we don't have to worry about the scholarship thing. And West has nothing over us. Yeah. And then West is like right around the corner, like, interesting.
Yeah. It is a little unfortunate that her role essentially turns into being like, no, don't. Like that's kind of the repetitive over and over we get from her.
Or being protective of him or protective of her dad.
Yeah, it's just like, well.
Because you asked what she went to school for, but we just assumed nursing, but maybe she's just hanging around the school.
Yeah, you don't know.
She's a continuing studies student.
Yeah.
She's just a lifelong learner.
Meg pretty much loses this battle. Kane is like, no, I'm on West's side. And West is like, well, the only way we're going to prove ourselves, like, they're not going to believe it if we just do it with some animal, but obviously implying like we got to go big, we got to find a human.
Yeah.
So now in a scene, Kane is like wheeling a body into the morgue. Of course, like the security guards there again, like even peeking in a little like, hey, what you got there? He pushes it in and then, but doesn't like totally see what's under there because then he pushes it in and out comes West. They're like looking through all of the different bodies in the fridge. Morgue fridge?
I mean, it's really loosey-goosey how they keep these bodies around. Yeah. It's just like a bunch of different tables. Some of them are in bags, some of them are under sheets, and in like basically a walk-in freezer.
It is just one big walk-in freezer versus like those classic, like where you like pull out a body. Yeah, this school isn't well funded.
The Miskatonic University.
Yes, yeah.
Which is a very classic Lovecraft.
Oh, is it like a reoccurring? Okay.
Miskatonic is like a town in Massachusetts or Connecticut or wherever where a lot of his stories kind of take place.
Like Stephen King style.
Yeah.
Lots of freaky stuff going on in the north.
Yeah, a lot of fucked up
cold months.
Yeah,
a lot of time inside.
Make you go crazy.
Yeah.
I think about my stories.
So they are looking at all of the different dead bodies to see which one is perfect. They find this like really beefy John Doe who died just suddenly, I guess.
Heart failure? Yeah, they don't know. Unknown reasons.
Something where it feels like it would be easier to bring him back.
Steroids blew his heart up. Anabolic steroid blowing his heart up or something. Because he's huge.
Oh, do you think he died of steroids?
No, I don't know. I'm just... They never say, but he's giant.
Oh, I mean, that would make sense because, when something happens with him,
which we'll tell you right now.
Yeah. So they get another needle, fill it up with this green neon liquid. At the same time, we're like bouncing back and forth between the guys in the morgue, and then the dean and Meg are up front looking for Kane. They know that they know that he's on the floor, even though they know that he's been banned. And then Dean is like, Meg, you wait here with the nurse. Nurse, don't let her go anywhere. I'm going to go see what's up.
Also, the scene where they're injecting the corpse is like the best visual of this reagent.
Yeah.
It's like if you were to take a highlighter and put it into like water or something like that, and it would like glow in the dark, but it doesn't really give off light.
Do you know how it was made?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
No. But it's really incredible. It's so striking and bright, but it's also not like you need to still use a flashlight to like see where you're going. It's not like giving off its own light, So it just is really a fascinating.
It was just like glow stick juice.
Yeah, it's kind of like what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing else in the movie is that color. It like really stands out as like an abnormal thing. So they're kind of like looking at the body, waiting. Nothing's happening. Kane's starting to stress. He's like, they're going to be coming for us. They know like we're here. We're not supposed to be here. You know, they're about to like give up, but Wes is still like looking, hoping. And then of course we get a little fingers of the corpse just like fluttering, and then the body instantly pops up. This dude is
bleeding from the mouth.
jacked, bleeding from the mouth.
Full body makeup.
Yeah.
Just fully painted.
Totally naked, but little wiener out. He's running. Am I wrong?
Big man, little wiener.
Big man, well, I mean, maybe perfectly fine size wiener.
Oh, when you die, your wiener.
And it just instantly in a rage. He's like throwing things because they do imply that like when they get this serum, it does, or like came in the past, specimens have gotten more violent.
Yeah, it's like a rage thing.
Yeah, which he doesn't seem to be really addressing in any of like the next rounds of it.
Yeah, I think his goal is it's like about freshness, right? He keeps talking about freshness. So potentially the fresher the body you get, the more likely you might be able to like communicate with it.
Yes.
Because this is the first moment we're seeing him being able to like communicate with or like get some kind of reaction from one of his dead bodies.
Yeah, he doesn't want them to be zombies. He wants them to like be a person who can like talk and chat.
Let's have a chat.
He wants the consciousness, not he thinks he's reanimating just the instinct or something, he says. He's like, we're waking up like the instinct and something else and the senses, and that's it. Not the consciousness and the feelings and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, the corpse has them both like by the necks, holding them up.
Yeah.
Then there's a bang at the door. The dean has found them. He's waiting right outside. The corpse just like busts this morgue door open and it falls on him, like squishes the dean to the ground.
Like classic Looney Tunes shit.
Yeah. He like throws the door off of him and just grabs him. He's obviously gonna kill him. So Wes gets a bone saw and he's pretty chill at this moment. He's just like, I've got it, and like goes over, puts the saw.
Not my first time.
Yeah. Right through the stomach of this reanimated corpse, which then he dies, but now sadly the dean is dead as well.
Yeah.
And Kane is like just like, what have I done?
So shocked because this is the father of his girlfriend. This is the dean of his school. This is a human being, and he's a doctor who doesn't like to kill. He likes the opposite.
Yeah,
he likes to live.
He likes the opposite. The other one.
The other one,
not the dead
one.
The
one he swears an oath to protect.
Yeah.
But West is essentially like, well, he wasn't fresh enough, but clearly the dean now, he's literally just dead. He's fresh. He's perfect. Kane is, at first, I think, just super shocked, but then agrees to it because essentially is like, how am I going to tell Meg that her dad is dead?
Yeah, there's like a little shrivel.
A shrivellet.
There's a little sliver of hope that like maybe West is right. It's like the sooner the better.
Yeah.
It's like the sooner you react to maybe it just is a timing thing. And it ends up being what, like 17 seconds?
Yeah. What would you do if this was one of my parents?
Juice them right up for you, baby.
Oh,
would you want your parents juiced?
They're pretty crazy already. I think I'll get juiced up.
Yeah, we're the average different. Yeah, a couple more get my head slammed against the wall.
So the nurse ends up leaving Meg alone. So of course Meg is going to find her way to the morgue where everybody is. Wes is getting the goo. It goes in Dad's head. And he's kind of like taunting the dad as he's waiting for him to come back to life. Like, I'll show you. You think you're so great being like the dean of the school. And then of course he comes back to life and he's just a bloody, disgusting blood coming out of the mouth. Just looks like total garbage.
Yeah.
And then Meg is outside calling for her dad. So Meg ends up coming in, seeing this whole scene. She kind of calls out to her dad, and her dad has a moment of like recognition with her.
He completely stops and like cowers in a corner.
Yeah, which is sad. But I guess,
I guess it is sad.
I guess it's sad.
It's pretty sad.
I wasn't feeling a lot of sadness throughout this film. It was more just like.
I feel like I was when, like, the dad, like, that there's a little part of his brain that's still there that would recognize his daughter, but you're, like, trapped in this undead body. You don't think that's sad?
Yeah, I guess it's sad.
It's sad. Come on. Write in the comments if you think that's sad.
Right in the comments.
um so now they're back at the house. We learn that the police have like interviewed everybody, and essentially Wes has been able to convince them that like the dean just went crazy and did all this himself. And they have the dean like captured. And you know, he wants the experiments to continue. Kane is like, he's not super into it. Wes is trying to convince him to keep going. But he had saw that like glimmer of consciousness, like he saw his daughter, you know, we have to keep going. And
Also, a big reveal at this moment
yeah.
with West, right?
Oh yes. So they're like debating about whether they're going to keep doing it, but then like Wes needs to go to his bedroom. This is when we learn that like he is injecting himself with this stuff
so that he doesn't have to sleep and he can just keep his brain sharp while
it's like Adderall
being up all the time. Yeah.
He has a diluted solution, so that it lets him keep going, but he can't do it. He needs his fix. He needs Daddy to give him his fix.
Yeah.
It all makes me think of like tech moguls right now, and how they all think like AI and the things that they're doing for the future are like so great. And I feel like they always brag that they like, I sleep 2 hours a night and I'm just so like efficient.
Well, it's like hacking your own body or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, there's only so much you can do.
And just doing these things just for the sake of saying it's great and I did them and I'm powerful and I'm the one who did it.
Yeah, it's all the same Frankenstein shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're God.
One of our greatest fictional scientists said, "You only asked why. You never asked why not." Jeff Goldblum. What's the
no, it's not even close. It's like,
no, you should.
Asking if they could, they never stopped asking if they should.
Cut that.
Delete this file.
Wait, say that again. Say it again.
It was what Goldblum says. They were so busy asking if they could, they never stopped to ask if they should.
Right?
Yeah,
something like Elon Musk.
That's probably my favorite science gone wrong movie. Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, yeah.
Other this one isn't great as well.
It's incredible, yeah.
Yeah. That one's so good.
And then Lost World.
And then Lost World. And then the Jurassic World. And then they're all so
you know what's crazy is I saw the first Jurassic Park in the drive-in movie theater when I was 9 years old.
That's a good one to say.
Oh, it was incredible.
Because you're in a car and they're in a car.
Yes. And when I was on my road trip in 2022, I saw the last Jurassic Park movie at a drive-in.
Dominion?
Whatever the fuck it was. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Dominion.
That one was kind of so bad that I did sort of enjoy it. But
it was pretty bad. But that's when Goldblum and they all come back.
They cruise back.
Yeah.
Sam Neill is just like a lovesick puppy now. They just reduced his character, which, you know, for Laura Dern.
Yeah, who could
I'm sick. I'm sick for her too. Wouldn't you be?
With love?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sick of her. I'm sick for her.
Okay, yeah.
Love sick.
Love sick.
I'm puking every night.
Speaking of love and puke, back to the film. We cut to the dean is now in this like padded room. There's like a window and Hill is looking in. He's in a straitjacket.
Yes. And the setup here is this is basically Hill's personal like sanitarium room, like padded room in his office.
Yeah. It's a university, so they had to like build this for him. Yeah.
So you must have this it must have happened before.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I need to personally look at this person for my office. Like
well, he's all about control.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Meg is looking on to yeah. I mean, isn't everything?
I mean, what it kind of culminates.
Turns into a sex.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, spoiler.
Yeah.
So Meg's looking in. Dr. Hill's kind of like creeping over her, old enough to be her grandfather, like older than her dad. Disgusting dude. And he's like, you know, need to give me permission to do exploratory surgery. And there's this like head on a desk that looks similar to the one on like the front cover, like very like science, where like half of it is
like
muscles.
An anatomical
like
statue,
and it's just a head. Yeah. And he wants to kind of like show her on this head, like, well, this is what I'm going to do to your dad here, and she's like, that's okay, I don't need to hear all this, you know. She finally she wants to go and talk to her dad, and he's like, no, you just have to do whatever I say, trust me. And he kind of starts to do his hypnosis thing again. But it doesn't seem to work on her. Or I guess it
Well,
is a little
I think
bit.
it is starting to work, but then the dad in the room like bangs his head against the glass.
Yeah.
You think he does that intentionally because he knows? Because he's a bit sentient? Like, why else would he do it at that moment?
Maybe
Don't you think that's sad? Meg is like, I'll take care of it myself.
Also, Hill's not in the movie for quite some time, and then he's like, I'm back. So you almost forget about him being there, and you're like, knowing that what we know about the movie and seeing it, it's like, oh shit, yeah, he's gone for a really long time in this movie.
Yeah, and maybe even just in this cut.
That's true.
In particular, because you said the other one is about like 80 minutes, right? Like it.
Yeah, it flies. It's like 85 minutes, maybe something like that.
Yeah. There she goes. Oh, so we see Meg leave. She's like, no, I'm not going to have you take care of my dad. Hill ends up going into the room with some like guys and like tackles the dean down and has like a needle. And we don't see what he's going to do, but we will find out soon enough. Let's see his report. Oh, then this was an extra scene where then the dad is in the like hospital bed, and so we see it instantly. It isn't that far off at all. He like is giving him a lobotomy because he realizes that he's already dead.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want him, if he becomes sentient enough to talk, that he'll be able to.
And I think it's like less a straight up lobotomy and more of a where the will is located in the brain.
Yeah, he found the hole right to the will spot, and he puts a Q-tip in there and just kind of earwaxes it up.
Yeah.
And then
you just gotta loosen up a little bit.
Just loosen it up, and then you listen to whatever Hill says.
Yeah.
It's like a combination of willing zombie, potentially willing zombie, and his science, like kind of melding together.
Yeah.
So he can have his
creepy little way.
His little army of zombies.
Other movies where there's like someone who has power over the zombies? Because usually zombies are like a horde of like just chaos. Versus
I guess it's like a Frankenstein thing again, but on multiple levels.
For sure.
Well,
also in Day of the Dead, so Romero's third zombie movie.
Not the mall one, the one where they're the one in the shelter. Okay, yeah.
There's a doctor in there who's doing experiments on the zombies, trying to see if they have any residual sort of like human consciousness.
The soldier.
And it's Bub. Yeah. And he's like listening to music and liking music and stuff. So it's not really about control, but it is more about like sentience and
or retaining any of your former
They learn in that one you can, right?
Yeah. That one zombie character is like chained in this room, but is like, oh, this is a Walkman, and and then he does a human thing at the end. Spoiler alert.
That's everything.
It's nice. He has new life now.
Well, it's nice that he can, but how many zombies were killed along the way before we figured it out? That's sad for all them.
Kill or be killed.
Oh, wow. All right.
So Luke's business card says.
Yes. Actor, writer, kill or be killed.
So Kane is at Meg's place. She's essentially like, what did you guys do to my dad? And this is when Kane reveals like he's not insane, he's dead. And she can't believe what she's hearing. While this is happening, Hill visits West in his lab in the basement, and he asks about the dean and like is essentially like, we both know he's dead. So what did y'all do? And Hill wants to like take over West's discovery. He's
give me
like,
your notes.
Exactly. Yeah. Give me your notes. And he does a little hypnosis on West, which you said is in the original.
Or so you think. I guess he's like,
why else would he hand over the notes?
I think that there's I'd have to like literally watch it again.
Yeah.
But like, I don't remember that encounter in there. I think it was something like Hill finds the notes. He goes down there and he finds the notes, and then West sees him and then comes in and kills him. as like, well, you know my secret now, so you have to die.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But I don't remember the. I mean, maybe it.
I guess
maybe it
you could
was.
swing it that it's like Hill would be just like, I know I didn't respect you at all before. Like this is the context of it, where it's like he didn't give West the time of day before, but now that he sees that there's actual results, he's going to collaborate with him maybe, or but then he instantly turns on him and is like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
my
You'll be famous
experiment.
too.
Yeah,
but
as
I'll
my
be-
assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be the Igor.
Yeah, you'll be the most famous assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, they'll stop having the Nobel Prize.
Yes. After this, they don't need it anymore.
Is Igor the most famous assistant? I guess so.
Probably, yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Who are either
But he doesn't appear. Well, Renfield also to Dracula.
Oh, sure,
famous.
sure.
But Igor doesn't appear in the Frankenstein cycle until like the third movie, Son of Frankenstein. There's an Igor, and I don't even think his name is Igor, but it's played by Bela Lugosi.
Is he in the book? I never read it. That character.
No, I don't think so.
What the hell?
The hell?
What the damn hell?
Hill is like, yeah, you'll be my famous assistant, but one thing, we got to get rid of Kane. And so it seems like West is hypnotized and he's going to be into this plan. Hill decides to look into a little microscope. As his back is turned, West goes and gets a shovel, bangs it in the back of Hill's head, and then as Hill is on the ground, kind of like chops his head off with the shovel, which
Yeah.
would be awful.
Yeah.
An awful way
It'd be
to like
sad.
it.
It'd be sad.
An awful way to go. Like a shovel to the
Like
neck.
a blunt instrument.
And you like
decapitating
see
you.
it going in
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I think
over
it'll be
and
pretty
over
quick, though.
again.
I guess.
I hope so.
Well, you got 6 to 12 minutes to think about it.
That's true. His body does do a great shape. I mean,
Yeah.
this is like we're getting into like the peak special effects at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, from this point on, it
It's
really
popping.
everything with Hill is so cool once Hill is dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kane, we cut back to Kane and Meg at the table, and he's essentially trying to say, like, I was only trying to help your dad. Wes only cares about the experiment. I'm going to turn myself in, but we need to, like, find your dad and prove that he's dead to show, like, that all of this is true, that anyone will believe me. It still seems kind of crazy to tell the police that. I don't know how far they would actually get.
Yeah.
They go.
Police in life and in horror movies are generally very stupid.
Yeah.
So probably wouldn't go very well for them.
So we cut to Meg and Kane. They're in Hill's office where they see that the dean is being held captive. Kane is going like through the files and he discovers this really creepy file on Meg where like she has a lock of her hair in there, or he has her hair.
Yeah, it's like Hill's little memory book.
Yeah,
It's creepy.
And then Meg goes inside of the padded room to see her dad. And he's kind of like cowering the corner, still seeming like he recognizes her.
Yes. But they realize he's had the lobotomy.
Yeah.
Yes. And they realize that that's because Kane or Hill doesn't want like him to tell everybody what's up. Back at the lab, Wes has Hill's head on the table and he kind of like slams it on a spike, like when you're cooking like a turkey in like a can. Like kind of just like
Yeah, well, it's like you know how you put order from a deli, like they'll put the orders on the little stick?
Yes.
It's like that.
And he's like, oh well, I've never tried it with just one part of the body. So he gets the serum and injects it just into the head, but then goes over and also injects it into the body.
Yeah.
And he's like chilling with the head for a bit, waiting for it to come back, hitting it with like the pencil that he had like, previously broken in his classroom. The eyes pop open. There's recognition of like, Wes.
Yeah.
You bastard. Yeah.
And then this part kind of got me because then you see like a shadowy figure behind him and you realize like, oh, that's Hill's body coming. And he gets Wes from
head.
behind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Smash
This actor, his name is David Gale, and he has like, I think he was kind of a prestigious actor before this, and then appears in this movie and gets to do like the fucking craziest, most insane shit.
It's so fun.
Like he's acting basically under a table with his head through the table, like classic haunted house style shit for a lot of it. It's so cool.
Yeah, for the rest of the movie, his head is kind of in this like metal medical tray, and then his body has no head, like headless horseman style, but he'll like carry around the head with him.
Yeah, it's really fun.
So that West wakes up, he realizes that the head is gone, the body's gone, his lab has been destroyed. Kane shows up there, and they're essentially like getting together, letting each other know all of the information that they've learned so far. Hill goes back to his office, carrying his head into the office.
Right here.
And sets it down, and then the head is like going around the office trying to find something for him, and like just like feeling around because he can't.
This was like the very Tim Burton-y scene to me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And he finds in the fridge some blood to like give him a little blood bath in his bucket.
Tray.
Yeah, his medical tray. Why did he need the blood though?
I think to give him oxygen. He like slurps it up and he's like, oh yeah, that's the stuff.
Because his voice too changes. It's very raspy because his,
Yeah, and he can't speak as like in such complete sentences.
But then he goes up to the window and he's like, Dean, go do my bidding, kind of thing.
Oh,
yeah. And that's when he sends off the Dean to do his secret little thing.
Yes, because his lobotomy has made him have mind control over him. We cut to now. Hill is walking into the morgue. He's like trying to get in. He's taken the head from earlier that was on the desk, so like the plastic medical like half muscle half face head, placed it on top of the body that has no head, and it has a little like COVID mask on, like all of his like little scrubs being
and
a
he's
doctor.
carrying like the head in like a bowl.
Yes. And the security guard is just like reading a porno mag, smoking the biggest cigarette you've seen, or cigar. He's like, well, have a good time. I know I am. He goes off to the bathroom to like jerk off. The body is kind of like showing Hill around the morgue, and he puts him down and kind of has the body go and grab a corpse. In the meantime, Kane finds Meg because he knows that now like Hill is probably after her. If he's wait, how did he figure that out? Oh, because of the hair.
Yeah, the creepy like dossier. Yeah. And then he was like, oh, he's gonna want to go West was theorizing that he wanted to go work on the experiments because that's like his ultimate goal, like his greatest desire. I forget exactly how he phrases it. And then Kane is like, his greatest desire is Meg.
Yeah.
So he kind of puts it together.
He finds her, and essentially she's like, you should transfer to another school, and he's like, no, you should go away. And then they're both like, actually we love each other. And then they have like a little moment and a kiss. In that moment, an arm busts through the wall.
Daddy's home.
Daddy has found her, grabs Meg. The guy Kane goes flying.
The third instance of blood splatter on the wall. And streak down there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Dean brings Meg to the morgue, and Hill is so creepy in this scene. He's all like, in his like little tub filled with blood.
I mean, this is the scene, the sequence of the movie that like people talk about.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. It's certainly graphic and a lot to watch too. So Dean has the body, or he straps the body to the table. Then Hill like rips the clothes off. Of course, boobies are out. Full bush. Straps her down. And then the body starts to like grope her as the head watches from the bucket.
There's an implication here that there's like some kind of psychic link between the body and the head.
Yeah, he's making his
when the body is feeling it, he's getting sort of like
aroused,
I guess, but like, does that arouse the doer
or
or
arouses me?
Yeah, I know, but like we would arouse
on me real good.
He's almost like cuckold for himself, or what is it when you're, you know what I mean? Like he's watching himself.
Self-cucking.
Yeah,
Bill is a cuck. No, but like you know what I mean. Like, well, let's not get into
yeah. I think it's like,
the pleasure
in the way
principles of
that
this.
he's communicating to the body what to do, it's the same thing. He's
Yeah.
like, there's some sensation or something. There's some phantom
Yeah.
horniness that is
But
transferred
but-
between head and body.
Let's imagine someone is doing that, groping a woman,
Honking.
and the woman's really into it. You know?
Yeah, she loves it.
She loves it. The honk. Yeah. So like the person doing the honking, honker, there's no like sexual pleasure that they would get from that, right?
Well, the feel
From
of
seeing
it.
and from seeing their sexual pleasure, and they would be like, "I'm
this is my-
honking
Well,
so
she's
good."
also getting off that she doesn't like it, unfortunately,
yes.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
kind of a common horror
This
thing. I mean, he is the villain.
This is an assault.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's
yeah.
absolutely 1,000% assault.
And it only gets grosser.
And it said, yeah. And we don't have
Well,
to
this,
get
you know, this is the first time I ever saw boobs, so like that's why I'm a little confused.
in this movie.
Ever in my life.
Ever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What'd you think of him?
10 out of 10.
Oh yeah. And then saying the things he said earlier, I've always admired your beauty. At one point the head or the body picks up the head and like brings it to like give her a little kiss and is like kissing down her.
Yeah, a little snail trail of blood.
Is about to eat her out until Wes comes barging in. And these guys have like a little evil speech showdown.
Yeah. They're tete-a-tete.
Yeah, well, and like he's holding his head like at his stomach as he's like giving the evil villain monologue. That part was really fun. Yeah. It's like, who's gonna believe a talking head? Get a job at a sideshow.
And he says it with such like venom in his voice too. It's just like, get a job at a sideshow. It's so perfect.
What's this actor's name again?
Jeffrey Combs.
He's so funny.
Yeah,
so good.
What else is he in?
He's in the very next movie that Stu and Gordon made, and so is Barbara Crampton. It's called From Beyond, and it's another like Lovecrafty kind of thing. And he appears in a lot of them, but one of probably his biggest roles is in the Frighteners, Peter Jackson movie.
Okay, yeah.
Where he plays the kind of
Is that also Dead Alive?
No, the same director.
Oh, okay.
But this is Frighteners. I think is.
I know that has two
Jackson's
different names.
First.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
First, yeah, it's Michael J. Fox. And
is that the one where there's like a face pushed into fabric on the front, where it's like a white face?
Yes.
I've never seen it, but I remember the VHS cover.
So Combs plays like a character even more ridiculous than this, and it's really great. It's really good.
Gotta watch it.
Check that out. Both the evil doctors have a plan. We learned that Hill's plan is to now all of the bodies that Hill's body has rolled out into the room, the corpses from the fridge into the like science area, instantly come to life and start attacking all of our people. Yeah, I mean, and people are like purple and covered in like bumps, and everybody's naked and just like grabbing people,
pull guts out of their mouth and shit.
Oh yeah, it's very nasty, very wild. This is when the guard shows up, like kind of opens up the doors, like what the fuck, and then just
runs away immediately. Yeah.
Dean grabs Hill's head and like squeezes his eyeballs, like making them shoot out blood. While Wes has like the double needles and he does overdose to the
body.
Yes.
The headless body.
Oh, that's right. The Dean. Oh, because Meg comes in. I skipped over that. But Meg comes in, and then that is when the Dean like sees his daughter and turns to the side of helping.
He has this Bub redemption moment where he's like, I'm gonna protect you and kill Hill and stuff like that.
Yeah. Or Meg didn't come in, she was there.
She was there strapped to the table,
I'm losing it. But she's there. The Dean sees that. He decides to help.
There's a truly incredible moment where the Dean is holding Hill's head, and there's a shot where the head, and then he's holding his head, and then the headless body comes behind the Dean and starts choking him. It's like head, body with head, and then body without head.
Oh,
choking him
like a totem pole.
It's really
awesome.
And I wrote down this was another when the Dean throws the Hill's head at the wall.
Yeah,
this is one of our
after he pops it like a grain.
Yes. There was one point too. The body has like a intestine come out and wrap around Wes
after the overdose.
That's right. That's
like
right.
I guess all the individual organs are raging at this point. And they're like fighting.
The Dean Dad, he ends up like all the corpses come at him at once, and he's able to fend them off to allow his daughter to get away.
They ripped him to pieces.
Yeah.
Sad.
Sad. They're trying to get to an elevator. There's kind of like a naked interpretive dancer is like one of them. He's not like
he's just thrashing. He's like a thrashing zombie.
The actor was really living in the moment.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, like giving a little extra.
He's like, I'm out here.
They were like, who's comfortable showing their butt on camera? And that guy was like,
me.
He already had his pants off. Lots of butts in this movie.
Yeah.
But it is about the human body.
It is. And their butts are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So they're trying to get in the elevator. More of the corpses are coming in. Kane grabs like one of those fire axes, smashes into it, brings it to the elevator. As one's like choking Meg, he cuts the hand off, causing like the body of the corpse to go away, but the hand is still around her neck.
Yeah.
He's able to like take that off and throw it on the ground, and it's still like wiggling around.
Yeah.
Well, before we go on, Wes, in Hills, in West is wrapped up with Hill's intestines and in West's final moments is to throw his notes and his like work bag to Kane. So like even in his dying moments, which spoiler alert,
you never see
there's
him
a sequel.
die.
He's like save the work, you know, kind of thing. But that leads
he's
to
the truest scientist.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, he loves science.
Yeah.
That is his number one thing.
Yeah.
So Meg is out. You know, even though he's managed to get this corpse off of her, she's not looking that great. He's trying CPR on her. It's not working. So he brings her all the way back to that first room that we were in the hospital. A very similar scene of doing CPR, getting the little paddle guys out, clear.
He does it this time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me do it.
But nothing's working. The nurses are like, okay, we got to call it this time. Everybody leaves. He's there alone with her. And then he goes into the bag that West had thrown him, gets the last little vial of goo, goes towards her neck. The camera, or it kind of like fades to black. And then we hear her scream.
Yeah.
But it fades to black, except for the
syringe.
Radioactive, light brine green syringe, and then watch it kind of
that was
cool. It's
full
black.
Yeah,
that was cool.
And scream
and the end.
It was awesome.
That's it.
Yeah. Yes.
Re-Animator.
It was so good.
Thoughts, opinions.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Well, what would you say as a far rating of like a 1 to 5 scary, and then 1 to 5 just quality of movie overall?
1 to 5. Well, 5. It's a 5.
A 5 for a film.
5 for a quality film. Yeah, this is like, to me, a perfect like movie. For scariness, I mean I think that really depends on like your squeamish level. Like, the gore is so gratuitous, but it is over the top in a way that becomes comical.
Certainly in the second half, it becomes much funnier of a film just overall.
Yeah. And I think that's the shorter version plays way more like a horror comedy.
Yeah.
Like, there's a little more seriousness in this, probably because they have those moments to like really stretch and develop character.
Yeah.
I think in terms of scariness, it's not that scary.
No.
Yeah.
It'd be like a 2, 3 for squeamish.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, the only part that even made me be like, ugh, was the very first time you see a Q-tip going into a lobotomy hole.
It's almost the more simpler, semi-realistic things that are more, like a Q-tip going. Yeah, you're like, whoa, there is a medical thing where somebody.
Yeah. And the peeling back of the skull and showing and like cutting open the peeling back of the scalp and opening the skull and showing like he's just holding the brains. It looks like a pile of jelly. Like, there's probably someone doing that in the world right now.
Yeah.
You know, which are a little more comfortable than watching like a guy carrying his disembodied head around, you know, which is horrific, but it's funny.
Yeah, it's baloney.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
I would say scary wise, I didn't think that it was super scary. It's definitely like gory, and I really appreciate the special effects of it, but it is more just like fun and almost not actiony at the end, but it becomes like a big battle with everybody. So I think like a 2 is fair. And then as far as movie quality, I can remember trying to watch this one in the past and never like quite getting into it. And this was my first time seeing this version. So I think having the characters fleshed out a bit more helped me like the film more.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
I liked this version more than past
making it less funny because I think it's like I remembered it being kind of funny, and this version did make it like it kind of earns it a little bit more when it's more sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would give it like a 3.5, just because it's also hard for me in films when the female character maybe isn't like I just like things with more
isn't fleshed out except for physically.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
And
flesh
we, like
out,
we
not
don't literally
fleshed
know
out.
nothing about her except that she's a daughter and a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in
And-
particular, the 2 evil scientists, I mean, they're so fun and they're performed so well and written
Wes
so
is
well
incredible,
that like they alone
Yeah.
get their own stars.
You went with us when we saw Bride of Frankenstein? Did you go with us? I think it was maybe just Jordan and I.
No.
But in Bride of Frankenstein, there's Frankenstein, and he's supposed to be like the crazy sort of doctor in the movie. But in Bride of Frankenstein, he meets a doctor that's even crazier than him, and then like is like forcing him to like do stuff, and it's this exact vibe.
Yeah.
And that guy, that Pretorius, his name is Dr. Pretorius, is so camp and ham and over the top that it's like fits perfectly into this movie. Like that dynamic is just, I love it so much.
And that the power of what they've created corrupts even someone with the most like pure intentions. Like he but he still like saw the repercussions of it, and Kate in the end like decided to not let her rest in peace, but like he had to like shoot her up too.
It's like a Pet Cemetery sort of dilemma.
Yeah.
Like you know the kid's gonna come back as fucked up, but still at the end of Pet Cemetery, he brings his wife there.
Yeah.
And she comes back fucked up.
Would you bring me back?
You know it, baby.
You gotta get juice.
You gotta get juice. Some of that green good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Luke, for being
Luke.
here.
Thanks for having me over and watching the movie.
Where can everybody find you?
Get your GPS out.
Under your bed,
These
in your
coordinates.
closet.
Oh no, I don't give a shit.
Where's your Instagram?
You can watch me. I'll be on the new show that's going to be on Dropout. Coming out. It's a food competition show. Jess and I were on the same episode.
What's it called?
Gastronauts. It's called Gastronauts. It's a lot of fun. I had a great time.
I'm excited.
The poker expert
In Thousandaires, I made a
Thousandaires.
cameo as a poker dealer. Life imitates art.
Yeah,
Art
and you might
imitates life.
see him in a city near you, being one of the Universal.
Oh my god, yeah.
Basic guys.
That'll be over at this point, but when this comes out, probably. But yes.
Yeah.
I had a wonderful time
Giving away money.
giving away money at Comic-Con this year. That's it. Yeah, I filmed a movie this summer, and I'm really excited for it. It's a super independent production, low budget. Some friends wrote it and made it, and I'm really proud of them. And I was honored to get to be a part of it. So maybe that'll come out someday.
Can you say the title to that, or did they not?
I'm gonna just keep it
Okay.
because I don't want to. Yeah,
Or pay attention to Luke's Instagram, then you can find out.
Yeah, I'll definitely be blowing up my Instagram. Luke Robot, the #1.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, and before we go, we should just go handheld and get a look at our guest.
Oh yeah,
doggos that have been
they've
causing
been causing
all
so much
this.
freaking trouble.
Hi.
Say
One.
hi.
Here's the other one.
This is Sassy.
They can see we keep it on top of Poppy's crate.
Yeah.
No.
Get a behind the scenes view.
And that's it. Okay, there we go.
Well, thank you all so much for coming. We'll have some more horror movies throughout all of October. So keep it eyeball out.
Keep your eyeballs out, popped out of your head.